Welcome to the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast, bringing you the country's top podcast on the subject of internet marketing, with your hosts Glenn Thayer and the CEO of Intuitive Websites, Thomas Young.
Folks, welcome back to another podcast. Tom's here with me again, as always, and we just launched a brand new website. So the Intuitive website has been redone, relaunched, and it's been pretty much what you say, Tom, a collective of the last 6 years of all this information kind of coming back into a redesign. And let's just start about it. I mean, we do case studies on all these other folks and all these other websites. But now we're kind of doing a case study on our website.
That's right, and it's going to become a little bit of a promotional podcast for us as well. But I just thought it would be a good thing to talk about because you're exactly right. Anyone who's listening to our podcast will know that we talk about all these different strategies. Well, now our team here at Intuitive Websites has now had the opportunity to actually implement and launch those strategies with our new website. And what's interesting, and this is true in any profession that you're in, is that a lot of times you spend so much time doing the work, you have very little time to do the work you do for other people for yourself. And that's been our case at Intuitive Websites. But we finally, actually over the holiday period between 2011 2012, we had some time where we could start focusing on this and getting the site done. And so the site's launched and it's live. It's intuitivewebsites.com. And I guess what I wanted people to know about it is that the first impression of the site might be clean, straightforward, nice job, but the amount of hours it took to get to that so that we could get there was huge. And so I think that's, in a lot of ways, the number one priority for a lot of websites out there is how do you take what could be massive amounts of information and simplify it down to just a few key points or a few key navigation points on the website. And that's what we've done with our new site.
Well, I mean, that's you bring up probably the number one point. I mean, when we start looking at websites and the website design for most folks is you put everything into the website. And there's so much information in the website, it becomes overwhelming with navigation. And obviously you have a lot of different companies, especially if you're a larger company, you have several departments that have input over to what that website looks like.
That's right.
And so, marketing says, oh, we have to have this. Sales says we have to have this. And, you've got all these inputs, and it makes the website difficult to navigate. It makes it huge. And so to get something as simple as this, because this is a simple website, but it's simple to navigate, and it's very powerful. It is very, very deep, especially between the podcasts that we've been doing over the last however many years.
That's right.
Articles that you've written. So what's the process to get it simple and basic?
Well, one of the things that we really focused on, we started with, obviously what is the objective of the website, which is to generate leads for us and to strengthen our sales process. So if someone has never been to our website and they contact us, I can send them to the website and that'll strengthen the sales process. It also was real important that we found out, what are the 2 or 3 things that our clients really want to see and take notice of about us. And then what are the 6 or 7, maybe 8 things we want to see on a navigation system that, isn't going to overwhelm the user. And so that's where we went with the site, and we decided that what's important to us is that we show our clients a return on their investment. So ROI made the cut. And also what was important is that we showcase our services, what it is we do. And then finally, we decided to showcase our 4-step process, which is we've talked about in these podcasts quite a bit. So those are the 3 things that are featured just below the banner on the new website. And then overall, we thought, well, what do we do? What's the bottom line, and what do we do as a company? And what we do is we help our clients grow their businesses on the internet, on the web. And so that's where we came up with our tagline, grow your business on the web. And the old tagline was cool sites, hot returns, which was a good tagline, but didn't really say we're going to grow your business, and that's what we want to focus on.
Well, now you have Intuitive Websites, website strategy and design that gets results.
Right.
Now, you mentioned about the process, about sending prospects to the website and going through it, using it as a lead generation tool. I know we've talked in several podcasts on how it looks, how to design a website to where it goes through the whole lead process, and pulls somebody through it. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast, if you're in front of your computer, once again, pull up intuitivewebsites.com so you can follow along with us.
Right.
Tom, can you go through what a user or somebody should be doing once they get on the website? What process are you leading them through?
Well, when they come to the home page, there's a couple things I want people to think about. One is a connection with the key messaging. And there's the tagline, there's 2 or 3 headers, there's a navigation system. That's number one, some kind of connection with the messaging. And number 2 is we decided not to use stock photography or stock images. We actually put on the home page snapshots of our actual client websites that we've designed and developed. And then what we want to do is have a rotating image here that will have actual snapshots of client results from Google Analytics. So we're going to do everything we can to avoid any kind of clip art photography. So hopefully that'll resonate with the user and drive them in. And so then if they see the site and say, yeah, it looks clean, looks good, they're professional, they know what they're doing, then we want the user to find what is more important to them. Are they looking for ROI? Are they driven by return? Are they looking to evaluate our services and say, what the heck do these guys do? Or do they want to know about a process we have, a process that works for us? So those are highlighted there. So that's going to draw people in. Then the other thing that will draw people in is the top nav and the idea that, yeah, the services are listed there, but look at all these resources, blog, podcast, webinar, articles. And within there, like you said, there's dozens and dozens of pages. And then there's, of course, About, which talks about us, and a link to the 4-step process, which people will start to get a sense of, oh, okay, they have an approach, they have a sense of how they get these results. We hope that there's enough options to drive the different types of people that come in to go deeper, but not too many that they'll get driven away. So once they do click through, the interior pages all have very basic conversion points on them, which people can click on and contact us directly via a form. Or they can go to an ROI calculator, which we have on the site, we've talked about in the podcast, and try to figure out ROI if they're so driven, or they can sign up for our newsletter. But it's pretty straightforward. There's not a ton of options. There's not confusing conversion points. And because we're not selling anything, we're trying to get people to contact us. Really, the bottom line is that they go to the contact page and go from there. And still, quite a few people pick up the phone and call us when they want more information. That tends to be one of the top ways for people to contact us.
Now, how long has this site been live, Tom?
The site launched at the end of January, so we're going about a month and a half. And one of the interesting things that we found is that, and you'll see this when you launch your new website, is that it's a process. I mean, there's nothing black and white about launching a new website. The minute the site's launched, you have to go back and do 301 redirects for the search engines. You've got to measure your rankings in the search engines to see what pages are tracking, which ones aren't. Especially if you change the format. We went to a WordPress website from a Joomla website. We changed the navigation. We changed the URL titles. So there's a little bit of a painful process there while you wait for Google to re-index you. And hopefully, if your site is cleaner and you've done a better job with SEO, you actually see better results than you had with your previous version of your website.
Now, have you seen anything measurable over the last month that you've been able to see?
Well, we saw actually a decrease in our SEO rankings because of the 301 redirects, but now we're starting to see that build back up again. We did see a really nice improvement in our bounce rate, and we also noticed that a lot of people were coming to the old website for information that didn't really necessarily mean they're going to become a lead for us. Like, for example, people were looking for examples of intuitive websites. And so they would come to our website looking for examples of what an intuitive website should look like and kind of getting confused. Oh, their company is Intuitive Websites. Well, that's probably not a prospect for us necessarily. And there's a huge market on the web, and you may be one of these people if you're listening to this podcast. There's a huge do-it-yourself market out there. And WordPress and sites like that have made it even easier to build your own website. And that's fine. We love to help the do-it-yourselfers, but they're not the ones that are going to pick up the phone and call us and become a customer or a client. So we're constantly watching that traffic, and it's one of the reasons why in our marketplace it's so difficult to have a decent conversion rate. We have clients that have lead generation websites that have conversion rates of 2 and 3 and 4%. Like like a mortgage industry client would have a real high conversion rate right now, but that's very focused and it's very targeted, and there's a high need for that right now. Internet marketing is huge. In fact, in our keyword research that we did, it'll give you a headache if you do keyword research in internet marketing. Mm-hmm. And what the best thing we could do is take these tens of thousands of searches and try to break them into groupings and subsegments. And so that's what we're kind of in the process of doing on the site. There's not only a huge bunch of searches just around the do-it-yourselfer market, the how-to market, but there's also a lot of confusion out there around searches. Like, for example, the word conversion rate. So we talk about conversion rates all the time. Well, there's tens of thousands of searches every month around the term conversion rate. But what are they searching for? Well, if you dig deeper, they're not all looking for website conversion rates. A lot of them are looking for currency conversion rates. So that's just an example of how fragmented this market can be. So if you go after a term like conversion rate, you're going to get people looking for, how to convert their euro to dollars or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but we're taking it on one step at a time.
Something I do want to talk about, though, with the website is you'd mentioned we went from a Joomla website to a WordPress website.
Yes.
Why the platform change?
Well, we've been watching the major CMSs, Joomla, WordPress, and Drupal for some time. It's been, 6 or 7 years now we've been watching them. And WordPress is easier to use and is just making more strides. In the 15 years or so I've been doing web marketing, I've seen this with technologies. It's the perfect example is the VHS Betamax example, or the Blu-ray versus HD players or whatever they're out there. Is that these different formats come out, but one format will take off, and it's usually because of ease of use. It's because for some reason the marketplace that triggered with the marketplace, it's easier to use, and that's what WordPress has done. And the other thing about technology, there's what we call the Apple or the Google syndrome, which is there's one big winner, and right. It's not like you have 5 big winners. No, there's usually one big winner, and in the open source marketplace right now, WordPress is that winner, and we're building our client websites now in WordPress.
So talking about ease of use and going back to ease of use, because once again, the website is very, very simple to use. When we look at it, some people might say it's basic. It's a basic website.
Yeah.
So why don't we just reiterate one more time what's the difference between a basic website versus one that might have a lot of flash and glitz with it?
Well, we talked about the overall goal for us of this website. What is the goal? Well, the goal is to have a lead conversion or to support our sales process. So if we're going to do that, if we're going to support the sales process, we need people to look at this website and go, these guys know what they're doing. The site's well organized. It's well thought out. It's only giving me what I need to see. I don't see stuff on this website that I have no interest whatsoever in seeing. It's very, very focused. And successful websites do that. And that's a big part of it. So if you think about a user coming to your website, when we talked about this in other podcasts, there's communication that's happening on a subconscious level and on a conscious level. So on a conscious level, you're thinking, it's pretty straightforward website, simple, I get it, grow your business, let me click here. But on a subconscious level, we hope we're reinforcing the idea of that the simplicity is knowledge, and it's organization, and it's a good work ethic and skills that we're going to bring to their project. That's kind of how this all comes together.
It's like when we talk about Netflix and going to Netflix.com versus going to Blockbuster.com.
Yes.
Or some of those. It's the user experience. It's very simple. This is what we do. It's very easy to use.
Very easy to use. And a site that's hot right now is Pinterest. And Pinterest is following that same format. Big graphics, easy to use, not a lot of options. You have 3 options or 2 options to do things, and people just love that because the rest of their life is so complex. Even picking a breakfast cereal is ridiculous. You have 1,000 options to choose from. So if we can make it simple and strategic and focused, we think we'll get the best results.
So what are our key action items for our listeners this time around, Tom?
Well, a couple things, and that you can learn from our website. One is have very straightforward messaging. Use one-level navigation, which if you can imagine, this website has one level of navigation, pretty much.
How would you explain one level navigation?
Basically, if you look along the main nav of our website, there's 8 or 9 key areas. You click there, you get a page, and that's about it. You might click one more page through, but that's about it. I mean, if you look at our competitor websites in web marketing, they have dozens of options to choose from on the home page and 3-4 pages deep. They also assume that in the services that you're going to really know all these services, and they're going to give you a list of 25 different services they do. We have 4 services. So, straightforward and simple and fewer options. I'd like, in your action items for the podcast, I'd like you to go to the website, look at it, subscribe to the newsletter, and read our articles. Send us an email and give us your feedback. We've been getting some emails. Most of what we're hearing is great website. So not a lot of specific feedback. Maybe that's good, but we'd like to get some specific feedback. And I guess the final part of this is if you're listening to this podcast, then yes, we're looking for clients. And if you're looking to find a web marketing and design firm, give us a call. That would be your action item. Call us today.
Wonderful. And of course, as always, we always put it out there. If you would like your website reviewed by our team, please send us an email at info@intuitivewebsites.com. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. And
thank you.
Folks, thanks for joining us.
This has been an Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast. For more information and to see all the available podcasts and much more, visit intuitiveblog.com. If you have a website you'd like us to review or an issue you would like to see covered in future podcasts, email us at info@intuitivewebsites.com.